I watched my son blow out 10 candles on his birthday cake, surrounded by friends and family, smiling that beautiful smile I thought he got from me. Then I stood up, handed him an envelope containing DNA test results, and watched my entire world burn to the ground in front of 50 people. What happened next destroyed 3 families forever. And the worst part? I still don't regret it. My name is David, and for 10 years I lived the perfect suburban American dream. We had the house with the wraparound porch, the golden retriever named Scout, the minivan in the driveway. My wife Jennifer was a kindergarten teacher, loved by everyone in our tight-knit community. And then there was Ethan, my son, my whole world, the kid I'd coached in Little League every Saturday morning since he was 5 years old. He had his mother's blonde hair and bright smile, but I always told myself he had my determination, my sense of humor, my love for old movies and terrible dad jokes. Every night I'd tuck him into bed and read him stories. Every morning I'd make him chocolate chip pancakes before school. I taught him to ride a bike, to throw a curveball, to stand up to bullies. I was there for every scraped knee, every bad dream, every first day of school. When he was born, I held him in the hospital and made a promise that I'd protect him forever, that I'd be the father I never had growing up. That promise became my entire identity. I wasn't just David anymore, I was Ethan's dad. That's who I was. But 3 months ago, everything started unraveling with one innocent conversation at a neighborhood barbecue. My buddy Tom, a pediatrician, was talking about genetics and blood types. He mentioned something casual about how it's impossible for 2 parents with O-positive blood to have a child with AB-negative blood. I laughed it off, but something gnawed at my brain for days afterward. Jennifer and I were both O-positive. I knew this because we donated blood together at a church drive years ago. But when Ethan had needed a blood transfusion after a bicycle accident when he was 7, I distinctly remembered the doctor saying he was AB negative. At the time, I hadn't thought twice about it. I was too worried about my son's broken arm and concussion to question genetics. That conversation infected my mind like a virus I couldn't shake. I spent nights lying awake next to Jennifer, watching her sleep peacefully while my brain screamed at me that something was wrong. I started researching blood types obsessively on my phone at 3 in the morning, reading medical journals and genetics websites. Every source said the same thing. It was genetically impossible. 2 O-positive parents cannot produce an AB-negative child. It was scientific fact, as certain as gravity. I told myself there had to be an explanation. Maybe the hospital had made a mistake. Maybe I was remembering Ethan's blood type wrong. Maybe the doctor at that barbecue was mistaken about the genetics. I made excuses for weeks, but the doubt was eating me alive from the inside. I started looking at Ethan differently, searching his face for traces of myself. His eyes were blue like Jennifer's. His nose was different from mine. His ears, his chin, his hands, nothing matched. How had I never noticed this before? Or had I always known somewhere deep down and just refused to see it? I couldn't take it anymore. I ordered a paternity test kit online, one of those discreet packages that arrives in unmarked brown packaging. It sat in my car's glove compartment for 2 weeks before I worked up the courage to use it. One morning while Ethan was eating breakfast, I pretended to ruffle his hair playfully and collected a few strands. I swabbed the inside of my own cheek in the bathroom, packaged everything according to the instructions, and mailed it off to the lab. The waiting period was 2 weeks, but it felt like 2 years. Jennifer noticed something was wrong. She kept asking if I was okay, if something was bothering me at work. I lied straight to her face, said I was fine, just stressed about a project deadline. She'd touch my arm with that concerned look in her green eyes, the same eyes I'd fallen in love with 12 years ago, and I'd feel sick to my stomach. Every time she kissed me goodnight, every time she said, "I love you," I wondered if our entire marriage was built on lies. The email arrived on a Tuesday morning while I was sitting in my car in the office parking lot. "Your DNA test results are ready." My hands shook so violently I could barely unlock my phone. I sat there for 20 minutes before I could bring myself to click the link. When I finally did, the words on the screen didn't even look real at first. Probability of paternity, 0.00%. The report was clinical, scientific, absolutely certain. I was not Ethan's biological father. I don't remember driving home that day. I don't remember the meetings I sat through, the conversations I had, anything. I was a ghost operating on autopilot while my brain tried to process the complete destruction of everything I believed about my life. When I got home that evening, Jennifer was in the kitchen making Ethan's favorite dinner, spaghetti and meatballs. Ethan was at the table doing homework, struggling with a math problem. He looked up at me with that trusting smile and said, "Dad, can you help me with number 7? I helped him. I sat down and explained the problem while my heart was being ripped apart inside my chest, because he was still my son in every way that mattered, except the one way that suddenly mattered most. After dinner, after Ethan went to bed, I confronted Jennifer. I didn't ease into it. I just walked into our bedroom where she was folding laundry, held up my phone showing the DNA results and said, "When were you planning to tell me?" The color drained from her face instantly. She dropped the shirt she was holding. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. That was all the confirmation I needed, but I waited for her to speak. She started crying, which made me furious because she had no right to cry, no right to be the victim in this moment. Finally, she whispered, "David, I can explain." Those 4 words ignited a rage in me I didn't know I was capable of feeling. Explain? How do you explain lying about the paternity of a child for 10 years? How do you explain letting a man bond with, love, and raise a boy who isn't his without ever telling him the truth? Jennifer's confession came out in broken pieces over the next hour. 11 years ago, we'd gone through a rough patch in our marriage. I was working 80-hour weeks trying to make partner at my law firm, barely home, disconnected and absent. She'd felt neglected, lonely, invisible. She'd started talking to an old boyfriend from college who'd reached out on Facebook. His name was Ryan. It started innocent, she claimed, just friendly catching up. Then it became emotional affair territory, long phone calls and secret text messages. Then one night, when I was away at a conference, he drove 5 hours to see her. They slept together once. Just once, she swore, as if that somehow made it better. A month later, she found out she was pregnant. She didn't know if it was mine or his. She chose to believe it was mine because that's what she desperately wanted to be true. She cut off all contact with Ryan, blocked his number, deleted him from social media, and buried the entire affair like it never happened. When Ethan was born and didn't look exactly like me, she told herself that babies just look like babies. When he got older and still didn't resemble me, she made excuses about recessive genes and family traits from distant relatives. She convinced herself of the lie so thoroughly that she almost believed it herself. "Did you ever test him?" I asked, my voice hollow and dead. She shook her head. I was too afraid to know the truth. That's when I realized the depth of her betrayal. She'd been a coward for 10 years, protecting herself while I lived in ignorance, pouring my heart and soul into raising another man's child. "Does Ryan know?" I asked. Another head shake. "He doesn't even know Ethan exists." I felt like I was drowning in rage and grief simultaneously. I'd lost my son without him going anywhere. He was upstairs sleeping in his room with the glow-in-the-dark stars on his ceiling that I'd helped him put up, but he wasn't mine. The child I'd loved more than my own life belonged to a stranger named Ryan, some college boyfriend I'd never even met. Jennifer reached for my hand, begging me to understand, to forgive her, to keep this secret so we wouldn't destroy Ethan's life. "He's still your son," she sobbed. "Biology doesn't change the 10 years you've been his father." But she was wrong. It changed everything. I spent 3 weeks planning what happened next. Jennifer begged me every single day to reconsider, to think about what this would do to Ethan, to please keep this secret for his sake. But I wasn't doing this for revenge. I was doing this because the lies had to stop, because he deserved to know the truth, and because every single person who'd watched me be a father for 10 years deserved to know they'd witnessed a decade-long deception. Ethan's 10th birthday party was already planned for the following month. 50 people were invited. Both sets of grandparents, Jennifer's siblings, my siblings, neighbors, Ethan's friends from school and baseball, their parents, everyone we knew. The party was perfect. Suburban backyard, bounce house, superhero decorations, all of Ethan's favorite things. He was so happy, running around with his friends, completely innocent and unaware. When it came time for cake, everyone gathered around singing happy birthday. I watched him standing there in his Batman shirt, grinning while surrounded by people who loved him. Then I stood up and asked for everyone's attention. I thanked them for coming to celebrate my son, and then I said, "Before Ethan opens his presents, I have something special to give him." I handed him an envelope. He opened it confused, pulling out the DNA test results. He couldn't understand what he was reading, but his grandparents could. Jennifer's mother gasped. My father stood up, his face red with rage. The adults understood immediately. Chaos erupted. Jennifer started screaming at me, calling me cruel and heartless. Her father tried to grab the papers from Ethan's hands. My mother was crying. The other parents were ushering their confused children toward the exit, and Ethan just stood there in the middle of it all, tears streaming down his face, asking, "Daddy, what does this mean?" That's when Jennifer's sister Amy stepped forward and said the words that made everything infinitely worse. "Jennifer, you have to tell him. Tell him the truth about Ryan." The backyard went silent. Jennifer's face went white. Then Amy looked at me with tears in her eyes and said, "David, Ryan is my husband. Jennifer didn't sleep with an old boyfriend. She slept with her own sister's husband. Ethan isn't just not your son, he's their son. I've known for 3 years." Subscribe for more true American betrayal stories.